What was weird about this particular set of circumstances is that the all-time high price that I paid on eBay is now invisible. And the reason it's invisible on eBay is because of a silly decision that I made as the buyer at the time that I purchased it. If you are going to pay an all-time high price for a card, and you're going to pay for it on eBay, and you're going to deal with the eBay premium for all these seller fees and all this sort of stuff, then I want that to stick. Like, I want that to be visible. Hey, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to the Parkside Merchant channel. I wanted to do a brief video today about a very strange set of circumstances that I just encountered related to a very expensive purchase that I made on eBay. And I want this video to kind of serve as both just an informational piece so that folks are aware of what this quirk is, and so that folks can make a judgment for themselves about how they may want to address this kind of an issue in the future if they ever run into a set of circumstances like what I encountered. So here's the gist of the story. About a week ago, I purchased, at an all-time high price, a PSA 10 first edition secret rare from Yugioh from one of the first 11 sets. If you're curious about what card it was that I purchased specifically, you can check it out on my Instagram. I will put a picture of it there on that account. But basically, very fancy card, very low pop, something that I had wanted for a long time, and it finally came up, and I was able to negotiate a price that I was satisfied with the seller. So nothing suspicious about the sale at all, right? The card was legit, the slab is legit, the card it looks great, right? There's no funny business going on with the card itself or with the seller. This was a very highly rated seller that I purchased it from. So I have no beef, no concern at all about sort of the fundamentals of the transaction, right? I got what I thought was a fair deal for the card. The card came to me in the condition that I needed it, and it's now part of my collection. So that's the good news, right? The good news is I got what I wanted, and I got it at a price that I was okay with, and everything turned out to be smooth and legit. I didn't have like no funny business going on with the transaction. What was weird about this particular set of circumstances is that the all-time high price that I paid on eBay is now invisible. And the reason it's invisible on eBay is because of a silly decision that I made as the buyer at the time that I purchased it. So what's very funny about this all-time high price that I paid for this card is that you cannot find this sold listing on eBay, right? Even though I purchased it on eBay, the transaction was completed on eBay, and I literally just got the card delivered like 2 days ago. So, and I gave them the positive feedback, right? I did all the fundamentals that are necessary in order to like make a transaction stick on the eBay sold listings or completed listings. So what basically happened here is when I purchased this card, when we finally settled on a price with the seller, they accepted my final offer. And then as soon as that was all said and done and settled, it puts it in the shopping cart, basically, in your eBay account. And for whatever reason, because it was a very expensive card, and I was like, this is really expensive, I waited like a couple minutes, probably maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes or whatever. I wasn't going to just immediately throw the money at the seller on the chance there was some kind of funny business and I was going to get some message from them or something. You never know sometimes with really high ticket items, right? Sometimes there's some fishy business that happens. So I waited about 30 to 45 minutes, I think, before I issued payment. Now, that happens sometimes, right? And for people in California versus East Coast, sometimes you wait overnight when you issue payment because you win an auction and then you pay the next morning or whatever. So it's very sort of standard fare for that kind of thing to happen, at least in my experience in the trading card market. Now, what happened in those 30 to 45 minutes when we had settled a price is the seller decided to close the item as no longer available, basically to lock it in for me as the person that had purchased it. So they were kind of doing me a favor insofar as they were removing the card from the market so that other people couldn't just keep shopping offers with them, which was great, right? I got the card at the price I wanted, And for those 30 to 45 minutes until I issued payment, people could not, I guess, keep making offers on the card. And I suppose that if the seller had not closed that item, as like taking it off the market, making it no longer available, people could have still made offers while it was sitting in my shopping cart. And if somebody had made a better offer, they could have accepted it, is my understanding of how eBay worked. What basically ended up happening is I paid an all-time high price for a card. The transaction was completed on eBay and sold on eBay, but you can't find this in the sold listings or completed listings, even though it was purchased on eBay, and it's not like we did some Instagram deal or some off-market sort of under-the-table sort of transaction. So you might reasonably ask, Parkside merchant, why do you care about this? You paid an all-time high price for a card that you got and that was legit, and you have the card now. So what's the problem? The problem is, in my opinion, if you are going to pay an all-time high price for a card, and you're going to pay for it on eBay, and you're going to deal with the eBay premium for all these seller fees and all this sort of stuff, then I want that to stick. Like, I want that to be visible. I want people to know that that transaction happened. I want it to be logged in the PSA appraisal sort of registry of transactions. So on PSA's website, they scrape eBay for sold listings and completed listings. This is the kind of data, even though this was not an auction, that can inform the appraisal values and even some of the SMR price guideline decision making, depending on the card and how recent the auctions have been. So it frustrates me, and I'm thinking, like, if it were a really big card, if I had just purchased like an LOB, first edition Blue Eyes, or like some huge box or something like that that was tens of thousands of dollars, you kind of want people to know how this stuff is closing and where the prices are tracing so that people can make informed decisions and have confidence, or have at least some understanding that there's people out there collecting these things and that there's a market and there's a demand for the product. This is entirely the justification for why people care about the sold listings page in the first place, right? How do you price a card if you don't know what it sells for or what people are willing to pay for it? So I did just get off of a chat this morning with some eBay customer support folks. They are going to move this inquiry onto a management review. But I basically told them, folks, look, I just paid an all-time high price in a very small market for a very, very rare card. It may seem very silly to the people at eBay, but if I'm going to use eBay to buy this thing and not take this to Instagram or do some off-the-books deal, then I want this stuff to stick on the eBay sold listings if I'm going to complete a transaction on eBay, and if the transaction was successfully completed on eBay. So I'm just like, I'm not really frustrated because I got what I wanted, and I don't really care, honestly, at the end of the day, because I have the card that I needed. So it's just like one of those things that you need to be mindful of. So for those of you, if you're making a deal on eBay in a best offer, what I recommend is issue payment as fast as possible. Like immediately, just pay for it, because then it'll stick as like a sold thing before the seller can go ahead and like take it off market or say the listing is no longer available, which then removes it from the sold listings page. So that's, I think, kind of the take-home message from all this. Now, that assumes you're somebody that you want people to know like how the card is or how the box is trading. I assume most people do. Like, if you're going to pay an all-time high price for something, you probably want people to know that like people are willing to pay a lot of money for this card, so that what doesn't happen is people think, oh, like this sale is invisible now. Nobody's going to know what this price was. A lot of people, I guess even without me doing the video, a lot of people wouldn't even know this transaction occurred, so that the next time this card pops up, people might think, oh, well, maybe it's worth less than what I paid for it because there was no transaction in the interim. Maybe more. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could spin this. If there's no visibility of the transaction, people have to wait longer to see the card, then they might be willing to pay even more than what I paid for it in a couple months. Who knows, right? I'll let you interpret the implications as you will. But long story short, I made sort of a mistake, I guess, that I sort of regret. And if I did it again, I would have paid immediately within 30 seconds of when it was in my shopping cart, so that it would really stick in those sold and completed listings and at least be visible, because if you are going to pay an all-time high price for something, it's a big deal, right? You hear about the Mickey Mantle cards and some of these other areas that reach an all-time high. if a card does sell for an all-time high, it's kind of a big deal. Even if it's a buy it now, even if it's not like an auction, it's still like something that, generally speaking, the market should be aware of and should have visibility into, especially if I'm going to pay a premium to buy this thing on eBay instead of just going on Instagram and knocking on doors and cutting a deal that would be invisible and off the books. So that's all I have to say on this topic, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you have questions. Check out my Instagram to see what the card was that I purchased. And once again, this is the Parkside Merchants channel. Appreciate your time. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.